Hello again, readers. We have been working on compare and contrast this week, and we are going to continue on with our next nonfiction book that we're going to story that we're going to read. You're going to need your trifold and your Wonders anthology. That's the big one. All right, it says anthology. Big word, big book. That's what I always say. Okay, so go ahead and get that book. Open up to page 326. 326, The Amazing Life of the Mojave. It looks like Mojave, but it's Mojave. It's a desert. Okay. It looks like the word Mojave, but it's pronounced Mojave. And this is a nonfiction text. Expository means explain about the desert. And we are going to compare and contrast some different things that we are going to learn. So right here we see a cactus. And before we start reading, let's look at the questions to just try to get our mindsets situated the right way. All right, 326 to 328. So here's 327, and then 328 is the next page. And it says use page 327, this page, to add details to the bubble map. So we're going to write 4 details that we learn about the Mojave Desert right here, just from this page. Okay. So if you want to wait for me and write down the details that I model, fine. If you want to write down your own details, that's fine too. Deserts are challenging places to live. They are dry, often very hot. Each year, only inches of rainfall in the Mojave. So right here where there's the parentheses, and it looks like funny words, this is when a text is telling you how to pronounce the word, Mojave. It is North America's smallest desert. It lies mostly in parts of Southern California and Southern Nevada. The Mojave has both mountains and valleys. It includes Death Valley, the lowest and hottest place in North America. On a car ride through the Mojave Desert, you may pass by miles of bare, dusty earth and scattered bushes. However, on a morning hike, you can discover that the desert is a lively place. Birds sing, lizards scurry after insects, jackrabbits and roadrunners dash among the bushes and cactus plants. So our first box is asking us to write 4 details in the bubble map about the Mojave. There's a lot of things going on in here, so you can just pick your favorite 4. Let's see. I'm going to try to get 2 in the first paragraph and 2 in the second. Let's see. It's North America's smallest desert. North America's smallest desert. Now, these boxes are quite small, so I'm not going to try to ask you to write in complete sentences. We'll just write the quick facts. Okay? Let's see. It's in Southern California and Nevada, has mountains and valleys. It includes Death Valley. There's all kinds of, we can put all 4 right here. Let's see. Has mountains and valleys. And again, if you want to write different facts, that's fine. Okay. Then we have, you may pass by many miles of bare, dusty earth. You can discover that the desert is a birds sing, lizards scurry around. So that's paragraph is telling us about the different animals. Birds, lizards, jackrabbits, roadrunners. As birds, lizards, jackrabbits, road. Oh, out of space, so I do my dash in between syllables. Road runner. So road is the first syllable. Road runners. And then We'll just say it has Death Valley. Includes Death Valley. Kind of a scary name, isn't it? Hottest place in North America. Okay. Our next box says, write one thing, my nose is itchy, that you learned from the map on page 328. So then we're going to turn the page and read it, and then we'll write our fact in. Okay. So just like all our nonfiction text, we look at our text features, headings, a living place, caption for the photograph. This hawk looks out for food from the top of a yucca palm. And then we have our map here. And the box says, write one thing you learned from the map. So let's read along the side of the map first. The name Mojave means alongside water. It comes from the Mojave people. They were Native Americans who once lived along the lower Colorado River. The river flows through part of the Mojave Desert, right here. See, it's labeled on our map. Okay. So we see the Mojave Desert, yes, in California and some Nevada. Oh, some Utah and Arizona too. These are labeled the parks: Death Valley National Park, Mojave National Preserve, Joshua Tree. And then our key tells us the different colors. The green is a national park or reserve, the water's blue, and the desert is an orange. So what is one thing we learned from the map? We learned where the national parks are, right? We also learned where the Colorado River is. So you can put either one. I'm just going to write, I learned where the national parks are. I learned where the national parks are in the Mojave Desert. And Mojave and desert is capitalized because that is the name of the desert. Okay. It's a proper noun. It's the actual name of something specific, so it's capitalized. All right, and the next, oh, we have to read it too. The next box is for the next, or for this page and the next page. So we looked at the text features on page 328. On 329, we see another photograph with a caption. So you should be caught up there. And the caption says, this chuckwalla will quickly squeeze itself between a rock if a predator comes near. Ooh. All right, so let's see, let's look at our question first. Why have the animals that live in the Mojave Desert adapted? So we're gonna find out why they adapted. And then it says, use those 2 pages to fill out our compare contrast. The top part is for the desert spiny lizard. This one is for the chuckwalla lizard. And then the middle, of course, is, oh, okay. So this is just like our diagram that we worked on yesterday. It's just instead of this way, it's going that way. All right. First thing to think of is, why have the animals adapted? Although it is very dry, the Mojave is a living place or environment for many fascinating animals and plants. Over the years, they have changed or adapted, so they live very well in a hot, dry environment. That right there. So adapted, we talked about this yesterday, I believe, with the comma and the word or. So changed means adapted. So they live, why did they adapt? So they could live in the dry, hot environment. Let's keep reading though. They do this in different ways. In the Mojave, you might see several kinds of lizards. They are all related. All lizards are reptiles. Reptiles have scaly skin. However, they are different. There's that signal word, however, in many ways. The desert spiny lizard, for example, is only a few inches long. Most of its food is insects. Now, we don't know if that's true about the chuckwalla, so we're not going to fill out that chart until we read it, but we do know the answer to our first question. Why have they adapted? Take off our question words. The animals, remember, adapted means changed. Adapted. So why? What did we say? So they could live in the dry, hot environment. So we just saw it right there. So they live very well in the dry, hot environment. So they can live well in the dry and hot desert environment. Period. So we just learned a few things about the desert spiny lizard. But before we can put that in our chart, we've got to read about the chuckwalla. The chuckwalla, that's fun to say, chuckwalla. Yay, more facts you can teach your parents at dinner. All right, here we go. The chuckwalla is very different. Signal word right there. It can grow almost 3 feet long. That's like the size of a yardstick. This big lizard eats leaves, flowers, and fruit of plants. It also has a special way of protecting itself. If the chuckwalla senses danger, it quickly hides in a crack between rocks. We learned that from the caption. Then it gulps in air, making its body fatter. It becomes tightly wedged so that a predator cannot pull it out. That's pretty cool. So it goes in between a rock, sucks in air, and then the predator can't pull it out. A pretty cool adaptation. Okay, so the desert spiny lizard is only a few inches long, and the chuckwalla is almost 3 feet long. So remember, we balance. A few inches long, 3 feet long. So we're balancing it out. Okay. Then what is something else? What do they eat? Okay. Desert spiny, most of its food is insects. Chuckwalla, leaves, flowers, and fruit. Eats insects. And what do we say? Leaves, flowers, and fruit. Oops. Eats leaves, flowers, and fruits. What do they both have in common? What is something the same about these two different kinds of lizards? I think I just gave you the answer. So page 329 was all about the chuckwalla. So let's look back at page 328. Okay. In the Mojave, you might see several kinds of lizards. They're both lizards. They are all related. All lizards are reptiles, and reptiles all have scaly skin. Is that the same? They're all lizards, and they all have scaly skin because they're all reptiles. Okay. Both are reptiles, which means they both have scaly skin. Tomorrow, we're going to read more about the Mojave and some different animals. So we'll do one box together tomorrow, and then you can complete it on your own. And you will have a discussion post tomorrow, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. So today we compared and contrast the desert spiny lizard and the chuckwalla lizard. You could always go on the computer and do some research. Make sure you give one fact to your parents tonight at dinner. Something about the Mojave Desert, something about one of the lizards, okay? And we will finish tomorrow and learn more about the Mojave Desert and some more comparing and contrasting, how things are the same and contrasting how they are different.